Installing the Redline CNC Spindle Kit for Redline and Realtime CNC controllers for Onefinity. In this video, I'm using the PC version of the software, but this will work for both PC and HMI versions. If you've previously installed a router into your machine, you can remove that router now, and if not, you can skip this step and move on to the next section of this video. In the last clip, I jogged the router so it's more accessible and easier to get to the holes on the Z slider mount so that we can loosen those and remove our router from the spindle mount. After loosening the bolts to our spindle mount, we can now remove the top plate from our X gantry on any of the machines that you may be installing this on. We're going to remove the bolts holding that plate in place with a 3 or 4 millimeter hex key, then lift it off, freeing those cables so that we can access the router cable and remove it from the drag chain. During this, we're also going to disconnect our Z motor cables just to make things easier when we are routing cables through our drag chains. With those cables out of the way, we can now remove our drag chain from the drag chain bracket on the back of our X gantry. This is going to make it easier to remove the router cable if you have one, as well as for routing the spindle cable through the drag chain. With that piece disconnected, we can lay the drag chain flat just like you see here, and now we can pop open our drag chain links with a small flathead screwdriver, and then we can remove our cable before moving on to our spindle installation. With that drag chain laid out flat and all of the links open, we can now remove our router here. Again, you may not have a router installed, so you can skip over that part, but we want to make sure that we leave our Z cable intact. After that, we'll move to our Y drag chain, where we will unplug all of the X and Y wires for motors, as well as homing sensors if you're doing this on an Elite. Then we can lay that out flat and open up the drag chains like we did on the X-axis drag chain. With the drag chain links all opened up, we can now remove the remainder of our router cable from that drag chain, and we're ready to install our spindle cable. Your spindle cable will come in this plastic bag and will have a wire tie around it holding it together. There are two ends of the spindle cable. The wire without the green wire sticking out is going to go to the spindle motor that is mounted on our Z-axis. Here we're just going to lay that into those open drag chain links starting on the X, leaving about 8 inches so that we have enough play in the cable to reach the spindle and allow for it to move up and down. Once we have that in place, we can close our drag chain links and we'll reinstall that back into the drag chain bracket on the back of the X-axis. We'll make sure before we move on that we have enough slack in our cable on the spindle motor end to reach the spindle and allow it to move up and down. Then we can also reconnect our Z-axis motor wires and homing sensors on the Elite before moving on to our next step. After those are connected, we'll move on to our Y-axis drag chain wire. Here I have this laid out and I'm actually going to leave a bit of slack between them just to make it easier. Then once everything is in place and the drag chain links are closed, we can pull the slack out from the front of the machine. Here you see I am feeding that wire through as I move the bracket closer, and we're going to reconnect that as well as our X and Z motor wires after closing up our drag chains. After that, we're ready to move on to installing the spindle motor itself. Inside of the container that the spindle comes in, you will find the spindle itself as well as any included collets. This is a 65 millimeter spindle that includes an 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch collet, but 80 millimeter spindles will include 3/8 and 1/2 inch collets as well. Now we can install our spindle into our Z slider. You can place this wherever you'd like in the slider with the spindle mounted somewhere along the middle of the Z slider mount. Here I have the 65 millimeter going into the apprentice, and I'll secure that in place with a 4 millimeter hex key on all machines. Once our spindle is mounted in our slider, we can now plug the end of the spindle cable into the spindle motor on top, then secure it in place by twisting the locking ring on, making sure that it is fully seated. Once you're happy with the placement of your spindle and make sure you have enough slack to allow it to move, we can reinstall the plate on top of our X-axis. Again, we're going to reuse those same bolts that we removed earlier, and we will secure them in place with a 3mm hex key for the Apprentice or a 4mm hex key for all Elite machines. With our spindle motor and cable connected, we can now move on to our VFD. We're going to be connecting the communications cable first. The aviation connector on one end with the screw-on connector will plug into the port labeled RS485, as that's the communication style that the motion controller uses. Once we have that plugged in, we can move on to plugging in our spindle cable. This is the end with the green grounding wire sticking out, and this will plug into the port on the top left corner of the VFD. The last connection we'll make on this side is the power cable. This is a 110 cable that will plug into a standard wall outlet, but yours may be a 220. Either way, it will plug in the same. On the opposite side of the VFD, there are two small zinc-coated screws that we're going to remove. Here I'm going to remove those screws, and then I'm going to mount the DRO directly to the side of the VFD case. In my case in this video, I'm using the Apprentice, but these can also be used on an HMI. On the back right side of the HMI, there are two threaded mounting holes that will align perfectly with the DRO's mounting holes. We can use the screws that we've just removed from the VFD to mount the DRO to the side of our HMI so that we can see it right next to our screen. Now with our DRO mounted in our place of choice, we can connect our RJ45 and 3-pin cables for the DRO to the side of our VFD. With our cables for our DRO now attached, we can plug in our cable for our communications from the VFD to our controller. This is going to be from the RS485 port on the VFD and will plug into the port labeled VFD on the back of the motion controller. After connecting our comms cable, we can now plug our VFD power cable directly into an outlet on the wall. This cannot be a GFCI outlet. Next, we'll boot up our VFD by pressing the main power button, and we'll see that green light come on as well as the numbers start flashing on the DRO. We can now put the spindle into manual mode and press run and turn the dial up to the right to make sure that everything is working. Here we can see our spindle spins up, and we can now press stop to make the spindle stop or turn down the dial to slow it down. To enable spindle control through your controller's interface as well as G-code, you're going to want to do some things on the controller itself. Here we can see on the main page, if we click spindle, spindle is disabled. So we're going to go over to our settings, and from general, we're going to go to the spindle page, and where it says spindle none, ignore commands and G-code, we're going to check Redline VFD RS485 in that box. Now when we go back to our home page, we'll see the spindle page now has the spindle controls visible. We can click forward and use the dial to turn it up or down, as well as reverse or off. This will also allow the spindle to turn on and off automatically through commands in your G-code when you're running a carve. This process is the exact same on both the PC version and the HMI version of the software. The buttons are just laid out slightly differently, so this will work for both. The last thing we'll cover here is our error 14 that may show up on your VFD DRO. This error shows up if you've left the VFD on but have turned the machine off. If this happens once the machine has booted and the home page of the controller is all good to go, all you'll need to do is press the red stop reset button to clear that, and you'll be good to get back to carving.